What is ICE's connection to an adult film producer? Hello.
As I sit here and take in all of the news from every direction, all I see is deceivers, liars, corporate media, cover ups, agenda, all pushing the same propaganda. It's time for a game changer, a visionary, an innovative person who changes the way that people think of the situations. It's time for Game Changer TV, telling it like it is. Get in the game.
Y'all might need to strap in for this one. Thank you for tuning in to Game Changer TV. I'm your host, Terry Lynn, and this is the channel where every day we're telling it like it is. Today is October 27th, 2025. And what is the connection to ICE and an adult filmmaker? Are y'all ready for this? So let's just do some little background setting up what am I looking for? Some foundational information to build on. I'm sorry, I have to leave my phone on because Josh went to his dad's house and I've got to make sure he's okay. So you might hear my phone going off. Does DHS and ICE work together? Yes, the Department of Homeland Security works with ICE because ICE, or the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, is a component agency within the Department of Homeland Security. DHS is the parent department, and ICE is one of the law enforcement arms. From the Brennan Center of Justice from December 6, 2018. DHS, the Department of Homeland Security, and Health and Human Services, which Robert F. Kennedy is now over, so ICE, Barbie, and Kennedy, information sharing and ICE enforcement against potential sponsors of detained children. So ICE, DHS, and HHS are all working together. This resource page is intended to provide journalists, policymakers, and the public with information about the information sharing between the Department of Homeland Security and Health and Human Services. From Michael Cloud, U.S. Congressman, Michael Cloud demands answers from ICE over nearly 300,000 missing migrant children. October 2nd, 2024. Congressman Michael Cloud demands answers from ICE over nearly 300,000 missing migrant children. That's a lot of children. And where are they going? A recent report, Representative Michael Cloud is demanding a response from ICE regarding a report that found nearly 300,000 migrant children disappeared from tracking. A recent report from the Department of Homeland Security Office of Inspector General found that over 300,000 migrant children under the care of the Office of Refuge Resettlement effectively disappeared from official radar. In a letter to ICE, Acting Director Patrick Lichtner, Cloud expressed worries that the failure in oversight left the children vulnerable to sex trafficking and forced labor. So we're missing children. So this is from July 25th, 2025. Department of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem's department. DHS leads efforts to rescue child victims of sex and labor trafficking. Secretary Noem is leading efforts to rescue and stop exploitation of the 300,000 unaccompanied children that the Biden administration lost or placed with unvetted sponsors. Do you think it's just under Biden? Wait till we get into this. Many of the children who came across the border unaccompanied were allowed to be placed with sponsors who were actually smugglers and sex traffickers. The Trump administration has located 13,000 of these children. So I typed in, does Health and Human Services, DHS, and ICE all work together? Yes, the Department of Homeland Security, ICE, and the Department of Health and Human Services, Robert F. Kennedy, work together, particularly on immigration enforcement and child welfare. Listen to this.
If we found out that a government agency, something run by the U.S. government, if we found out that that department was responsible for child trafficking deliberately and in massive, massive numbers, do you think that'd be a story that, like, you might see on the news? Like something that maybe a reporter would talk about? It wasn't even something that a reporter had to break, just something that they commented on. Yesterday, RFK Jr. at his 100-day address, he's been in power now, he's had his role for 100 days, so he had a press conference. One of the things he talked about, among others, was that HHS, the Department of Health and Human Services, a government-run agency, was deliberately trafficking children, deliberately playing a role in the trafficking of children. And nobody's talking about it. Again, a reporter didn't have to break the story. It didn't take like some sleuth to go and figure this out. He said it at the press conference, and still nobody's talking about it. Nobody. My guess is I'm probably going to move way down in your algorithm just for talking about this. I've had 2 videos this week that one went to 100,000 views, another one over 65,000. And I'll bet you, if you don't already follow me, you will never see this video. This is deliberate covering. There's a deliberate cover-up of what should be the biggest story on earth, and nobody's going to know.
So I can hear people say, that's not true. So let's go see what this says.
We have ended HHS as the role as the vector, the principal vector in this country for child trafficking. And during the Biden administration, HHS became a collaborator in child trafficking and for sex and for slavery. And we have ended that, and we're very aggressively going out and trying to find these children, the 300,000 children that were lost by the Biden administration. And we have ended funding for gender mutilation surgeries and other kind of gender dysphoria practices. And thanks to Elon, we have saved $67 billion at our agency without compromising any of our critical programs.
Y'all think it was just under Biden? Listen to David Icke.
Prince Andrew, Epstein.
Epstein, that's it, yeah.
Yeah, the little black book, which Blair was in and Trump was in. The pedophile plane of Epstein, which Bill Clinton took many rides in. Yeah, oh yeah. Honestly, if people only knew the scale of what goes on in the world. When I start investigating these family bloodlines that are behind all this, invariably you hit pedophilia and Satanism. The scale of it is absolutely vast. I was traveling America, and what I did is I called the federal government, and I wanted figures for the number of children went missing every year. And they said, we don't keep them. And they said, you're gonna have to ring every state. So I started ringing every state. I don't know, I got to about 10 and 15. And I'm in such a figure by then of children going missing. It was staggering. And this goes into the very top of society. They steal children to order. They will be asked for a child, maybe blue-eyed and blonde-haired with certain characteristics. They will then scan society looking for that child of the client, and then they will steal them. It's a cesspit, a freaking cesspit, and we have to have the bollocks to say so. And if we're sure of our facts, to name names and not worry about consequences, but let the names worry about the consequences. Because they'll never have those consequences while people are in fear of speaking the truth.
So, hundreds of thousands of immigrant children are missing. Reports citing hundreds of thousands of missing immigrant children refer to the data from federal oversight reports concerning unaccompanied minors. The figures do not mean that these children are missing in the traditional sense, but rather that the government agencies has lost track of them within the immigration system due to significant systemic failures. So we know about McAfee antivirus software. So here's John McAfee, however you want to say it. John McAfee was a British and American computer programmer, businessman, and two-time presidential candidate who unsuccessfully sought the Libertarian nomination for president. And listen what he had to say about missing children and trafficking.
Belize. I had friends in the U.S. Embassy in Belize. I knew what was coming down. I'm not stupid. I had arranged with the head of security. I was going to come in. He said, "Sir, we have it from the highest authority. We are not to allow you entry into the U.S. Embassy." Understand me. Who was the highest authority of the State Department? Hillary Clinton. I'm an American citizen with a American passport. I'm sorry. I'm not wanted in America. I've got no crimes in America. Is it not a reason?
So this was under Obama. So this was before Trump. It was Obama, then Trump, then Biden. So this has been going on for a minute.
I had friends in the U.S. Embassy in Belize. I knew what was coming down. I'm not stupid. I had arranged with the head of security. I was going to come in. He said, "Sir, we have it from the highest authority. We are not to allow you entry into the U.S. Embassy." Understand me. Who was the highest authority of the State Department? Hillary Clinton. I'm an American citizen with a American passport. I'm sorry. I'm not wanted in America. I've got no crimes in America. Is it not a reason to say, I don't think I'm going to vote for you?
And yet you're here now.
For a month and a half, I was on the run. The reason that the government wanted to collect me was that after they had raided my property in 2012 in the jungle, shot my dog, abused me, destroyed $500,000 worth of my property over a bogus charge, I was pissed off. And so I donated to many secretaries within the government laptop computers, really nice ones that were preloaded with viral spyware. Within a week, the entire government computer system was under my control. I was watching, monitoring, listening. I was looking for information that they had set me up for that raid. I didn't find that. I did find out that the Minister of National Defense was the largest drug trafficker in all of Central America. And the Minister of Immigration, the largest human trafficker.
Well, we don't want to get killed by them either, so we're probably not going to share that.
That's fine.
It was getting a little hot in John McAfee's compound.
We're going to come back to that. But this was in my mail. I have 55,000 emails that I'm wanting to cover articles on. This is from 2019. ICE is building a state-of-the-art urban warfare training facility that will include hyper-realistic simulations of homes in Chicago and Arizona. Wait till we get into this. ICE is building a training facility that's hyper-realistic, okay? The U.S. Immigration and Custom, ICE, is looking to build, this was 2019, a state-of-the-art urban warfare training facility that will include hyper-realistic simulations of homes, hotels, and commercial buildings in Chicago and Arizona. In an acquisition form for the procurement of hyper-realistic training devices for a new training facility for its expanding special response team, ICE outlined the details of plans for its new training center in a document published on the U.S. Federal Business Opportunity website. It says, while I sought to redact the location of the new training facility in the document, it was not successful in doing so. After copying and pasting the document's contents into a separate document, Newsweek was able to establish that the facility will be built at the Office of Firearms and Tactical Programs, Tactical Operations Complex at Fort Benning, Georgia. American Immigration Council, September 18, 2019. ICE plans to build a hyper-realistic tactical training facility that can simulate urban warfare. Now, this is going to tie back into the missing children, okay? Congressman Garcia, ICE is declaring war on our neighborhoods. This was still 2019, so this was 6 years ago. They were planning something. Agency awards contract to build urban warfare training facility with replica of Chicago. I am shocked and outraged by the recent reports detailing ICE's plans to construct an urban warfare training facility on a U.S. military base to provide hyper-realistic simulations of Chicago neighborhoods. This decision is a clear indication that ICE, under the direction of President Donald Trump, is declaring war on our neighborhoods. Now, this is from August 23rd, 2025, just a couple of months ago. Inside Georgia campus, where ICE is training thousands of new recruits. So it was true. Here we are 6 years later. In the coming months, 10,000 recruits hired by ICE will pass through the federal agency's training academy in coastal Georgia before fanning out across the country to carry out President Donald Trump's deportation agenda. At the facility, the newest officers from ICE and Enforcement and Removal Operations Arm will undergo an 8-week training course covering topics ranging from immigration law to firearms and driving safety before they are sent to a field office to begin working alongside their peers. So, what is the ICE connection to an adult film producer and children? This is from BuzzFeed from October 10th, 2019. Now, pay attention to this. A new ICE training facility is being modeled after U.S. cities. Members of Congress who represent those areas are livid. This decision is nothing short of a declaration of war on our neighborhoods, Jose Garcia said of the project. Now, wait till we get into this. Imagine copies of Chicago homes from my neighborhood sitting in a warehouse and on a military base, built with details like toys in the yard and dishes on the kitchen table. That first article says the same thing. Details like the number of dishes left on the table, toys in the yard, all provide clues. So they're getting training to show up at houses by determining how many people live there, by how many dishes are on the table, and how many children might be living in a home when ICE shows up. Now remember, David Icke says they procure children. John McAfee said they're involved in it. 300,000 children are missing. And now ICE is getting training in hyper-realistic simulations of houses with toys as clues if children live there or not. Wait till you see where this is turning into. Imagine copies of Chicago homes from my neighborhood sitting in a warehouse on a military base, built with details like toys in the yard and dishes on the kitchen table, Garcia said. This has nothing to do with security and everything to do with the Republican anti-immigrant agenda to normalize violence against our communities. The Arizona replicas stand 8 feet tall and duplicate single-family homes with driveways, according to the documents. The Chicago build-outs will feature 3 40-foot tall shipping containers made to look like adjoining 2-story apartment buildings. Now, here it is. Are y'all ready? What is an adult film store man doing involved in this? The contractor provides Hollywood like combat props from state of the art battlefields to replica weapons. The owner of Strategic Operations, Stu Siegel, transitioned into military training simulation industry in 2002 after producing TV shows in San Diego. Before Siegel ventured into production, he had a career as an adult film director during the early 70s and 80s, responsible for films like and a 71-minute film in which college students used their plentiful assets to cover college tuition. Why he did not return calls for comment. So, why is ICE involved with a man that was a porn producer? And part of the props he's provided is how to look for details such as toys in the yard. Why are perverts simulating little kids' toys? The department that is known to traffic children is getting their props from a porn producer. That's not concerning. It's very concerning. Very concerning. I typed in, is ICE rounding up people in Chicago? 2 hours ago, ICE agents seen breaking car windows, detaining people. October 6th, immigration agents becoming increasingly aggressive. ICE in Chicago. October 4th, Time Magazine. Children caught up in military style ICE raid in Chicago, where they're running simulations with help from somebody that used to be an adult film star. Y'all, my mind is blown. Now, y'all remember Christy Nome wants to do a TV show based on the Hunger Games. Now, listen to John McAfee again.
The reason that the government wanted to collect me was that after they had raided my property in 2012 in the jungle, shot my dog, abused me, destroyed $500,000 worth of my property over a bogus charge, I was pissed off. And so I donated to many secretaries within the government laptop computers, really nice ones, that were preloaded with viral spyware. Within a week, the entire government computer system was under my control. I was watching, monitoring, listening. I was looking for information that they had set me up for that raid. I didn't find it. I did find out that the Minister of National Defense was the largest drug trafficker in all of Central America. The Minister of Immigration, the largest human trafficker.
We don't want to get killed by them either, so we're probably not going to share them.
July 25th, 2025. Department of Homeland Security leads efforts to rescue child victims of sex and labor trafficking. Do y'all believe that? Then I typed, are there underground tunnels in Chicago? Yes, Chicago has multiple underground tunnel systems, including the public pedway, a network of pedestrian walkways connecting downtown buildings, and a massive deep tunnel system. There are also abandoned freight tunnels that are now mostly used for utilities, though some sections are a result of the 1992 flood incident. A network of tunnels, bridges, and concourses connecting over 40 blocks and 50 buildings in downtown Chicago. Are there underground tunnels in Arizona? Yes, underground tunnels and subterranean passages exist in Arizona with various purposes and origins. Do y'all remember the big story about the McMorton preschool, where preschoolers said that they were kidnapped and brought into tunnels and sexually assaulted? Okay. Child Welfare and Information Gateway, 1994. The Dark Tunnels of McMartin. The Dark Tunnels of McMartin, Harbor UCLA Medical Center. The children's stories about underground tunnels during the McMartin preschool trial were met with limited investigative efforts by the prosecutors. I'm sure there was. The primary archaeological survey conducted outside of the building revealed no evidence of tunnels in the area. After the trial, several parents commissioned a more complete archaeological excavation beginning in the classroom identified by the children as the entrance to the tunnel. The excavation found evidence of a tunnel in a room measuring 6 feet 8 inches high and 9 feet in diameter. The tunnel had been filled in to hide its existence. In addition, a child's lunch bag was post-dated the construction of the building, and 2 enameled iron pots were also found. Proof of the tunnels and the secret room described by the children was dismissed by the media and prosecution involved in retrial. The article concludes that society is not capable of accepting proof that ritual abuse actually occurs. Now, June 24, 2024, Gaza's missing children. Over 20,000 children estimated to be lost, disappeared, detained, or buried under the rubble or in mass graves. 20,000 missing in Gaza. And look at this, February 11, 2024. Hamas tunnel network discovered under UN agency in Gaza that fired staffers over alleged terror links. So we got 20,000 missing children in Gaza, and they have a tunnel system under the UN agency. January 20th, 2021. Won't somebody please think of the children? When a large makeshift medical facility was set up near New York's Central Park in April 2020, most Americans accepted as face value a treatment center for COVID-19 patients. Where some saw health care, though others saw conspiracy. According to one group of right-wingers, the large white tents weren't a medical facility at all, but rather a clever cover-up for a heroic mission. Trump's administration was planning to rescue the mole children. Just hours after the white tents appeared, followers of the conspiracy theory known as QAnon conducted this elaborate story. In a network of underground tunnels beneath Central Park, children had been bred and raised for slavery. Now, when we read that Gaza has tunnels under a UN agency, we're reading about the missing children. This bizarre AI-generated video that Trump released about his utopian Gaza makes more sense. Watch this part.
Donald is coming to set you free, bringing the light for all to see. No more tunnels, no more fear. Trump Gaza is finally here.
Did y'all hear that? Did y'all hear that? No more tunnels, no more fear. So Trump's Gaza video, no more tunnels. What do y'all think he's talking about? Think about that, okay?
Bringing the light for all to see. No more tunnels, no more fear. Trump Gaza is finally here. Trump Gaza shining bright. Golden future, a brand new light. Feast and dance, the deal is done. Trump Gaza, number one. Trump Gaza shining bright. Golden future, a brand new light. Feast and dance, the deal is done. Trump Gaza, number one.
An opportunity.
If we found out that a government agency, something run by the U.S. government, if we found out that that department was responsible for child trafficking deliberately and in massive, massive numbers, Do you think that'd be a story that, like, you might see on the news? Like something that maybe a reporter would talk about? It wasn't even something that a reporter had to break, just something that they commented on. Yesterday, RFK Jr. at his 100-day address, he's been in power now, he's had his role for 100 days, so he had a press conference. One of the things he talked about, among others, was that HHS, the Department of Health and Human Services, a government-run agency, was deliberately trafficking children, deliberately playing a role in the trafficking of children. And nobody's talking about it.
And they work with ICE. ICE has built a facility in Georgia that gets their prop and input from an adult porn star perverted ex-producer. And what does a porn star sell? What kind of activities does a porn star sell? And now the missing children, the admission that this went on, the tunnel system that people don't want to acknowledge, and Trump's perfect utopia providing the false promise of no more tunnels. Isn't that kind of a bizarre thing to put in your song? No more tunnels? I just wanted to put this out here for y'all to think about some things. Please let me know what y'all think. Now, if you grew up in the 80s, you remember this TV show called Silver Spoon, and Ricky Schroeder was the main star, the little blonde-headed kid. He was also in that Brad Paisley song, Whiskey Lullaby, as the soldier that came back from war. Well, here he is talking about what Hollywood does to children.
With the older guys, and I'm in Point Doom, and somebody popped in a cassette tape into a VHS player, and there was a room with a body, I believe it was a male, laying on a table, and people came around the room. It was dimly lit, but they had hoods and robes on, and they had some sort of ritual where they took out a knife and they cut him down the side. It was his right side, and they took out parts of him, and the blood started flowing, and they were chanting, and there was women there, and they took off their clothes, and then they took the blood and they smeared it on their bodies and started to be sexual with each other. I was hanging out with the older guys.
Y'all remember Spirit Cooking? Marina Abramovich and Lady Gaga? Ricky Schroeder just said they brought a man out and they cut him in the side and the blood came out. And Zelensky has appointed Marina Abramovich, the spirit cooker demonic woman, to help rebuild the schools, so she will have access to children. The lady that is accused of sacrifice. Are children missing in Ukraine? As of late 2025, Ukrainian officials report at least 19,500 children are missing after illegally deported to Russia. And this last clip is a member of the 70s and 80s rock band, the Scorpions. There's No One Like You. That Scorpion, Rock You Like a Hurricane. Listen to what he has seen involved.
This guy, Ralph Reicherman, he's German.
Not much.
He was the bass player for the Scorpions.
Any German fetish parties going on later?
I don't go to fetish parties. I went to one time. I've seen them really bad.
Was it like a donkey show or?
No, actually, I think they actually kill people there and stuff. They pay like up to like 100,000 people to see people get
executed.
I'm not kidding. But I went to another one. where literally I saw like the grossest. I wanted to throw up.
So why is ICE involved with a person that was involved in sexually explicit content that was for sale? And now they've constructed a simulation of the cities of Chicago and in Arizona, how to spot houses that have toys and how many kids live there. Why are they doing this? So I just wanted to throw this out there to y'all. And they've been accused of being traffickers themselves. Y'all please leave me your comments below and let me know what you think. And children are missing everywhere. Love y'all.